Okay, great. I'm excited this morning. I was here at 7 this morning because I was not ready. My music was not chosen and so on. So I said I fled from my family, trying not to wake up Sophia, locking the door very carefully. So that's what brought me here. Have the time to do my stuff and so on and so forth, to prepare faithfully and to pray before the meeting. That is great. So I'm excited today because we have new messages to come, and a series of messages basically that will be called Peter the Man, before we stepped into apostleship from his standpoint and so on, and also before he stepped in as giving us 2 books that we will look upon later on. So I'm going to ask you to go back to John for a quick moment. John chapter 1. I have some scriptures on the PowerPoint with you, and not all of them are there, but anyway, we will go through that and so on. Farron read the first passage that comes in the gospel concerning Peter, and today, once again, beloved, we begin a new journey in the 4 Gospels account with a focus on Peter the Man. And like I say, when I say Peter the Man, it is simply based upon what we have learned in the last 17 messages about the doctrine of anthropology, the doctrine of man from a scriptural standpoint. Understanding what we are, dichotomy, and so on. I don't need to say it all. In a fallen state, found by grace, and so on. We have looked at man here, and that's why I want to do a study character with you here, understanding what we are composed of and what Peter also is composed of, as having the immaterial part and the material part. The idea that I have in mind here is to look at some passages in the gospel, significant passages, where Peter is involved in the 3.5-year ministry of Jesus, physically, where he is involved with him, and see what we can derive together without violating the context. Because we will see as we carry on with this voyage together of scrutinizing the life of Paul in the adult ministry or the public ministry of Jesus here, we can derive things without being him, without being an apostle and so on. What can we derive and pass the door and gain insight in our Christian walk with them, with this? And I will be faithful in all ways, respecting the primary context, not to ascribe on us things that should not be ascribed. This is a commitment that I have with you. Then, after we've completed, it's introductory material right now, this voyage towards the 4 evangelists, the 4 Gospels account, we will do a study of 1st and 2nd Peter. I don't know how long it's going to last, but we'll read the Epistle of Peter, 1st and 2nd Peter, derive messages, and you will be blown away at things that we can come up with in the 2 messianic epistles, because 1st and 2nd Peter were written directed to the Jews. I'm just going to give you a nugget of information right now. These are messianic Jewish epistles, and we will see what we can glean from this. In John chapter 1, 40 to 42, we are first introduced to Peter for the first time. Okay, I will read it again in a moment of time. But before we get there, I'm done with the introductory material right now. I want to show you something else. But I'm going to do something with you. I'm going to read like Farron was supposed to, but I asked him to read a little bit longer. I'm going to read the account again, just verses 40, 41, and 42. Just to catch your attention somewhere. And then I'm going to ask you to turn with me in the book of Genesis chapter 32. I have it here. You can follow with me because I basically modified the account here so that it might be more palatable. So I'll repeat, those online are welcome also. I forgot to welcome you. It's done right now. So I just want to read again the first encounter that we have with Peter in chapter 1, verses 40, 41, and 42. Come with me. One of the 2 who heard John speaking and followed him, the John here is John the Baptist, was Andrew, Simon Peter's brother. So the first one here, it's Andrew. He found his own brother Simon and said to him, the Simon is Peter, we found the Messiah, which is translated Christ. He brought him to Jesus. Andrew brought Peter to Jesus. And Jesus looked at him. Circle this. And Jesus looked at him and said, you are Shimon, the son of John. You shall be called Cephas, which is translated Peter. I need to go back. An eye contact with Jehovah. And Jesus looked upon him. Jesus is equal to the Father. Would you like it? Yeah. It will never happen to you in the way that it did happen to Peter. Before I carry on, go in your Bible, in your own translation, go to the book of Genesis chapter 32, verses 24 to 30. I'm going to read from there. What's the story? That's the story in Genesis chapter 32, verse 24 to 30, the story of Jacob. Jacob did treachery, basically asking by being asked by his mom to pretend to be Esau. But Jacob is characterized by a man who wanted to be blessed. Be with me. He wanted the blessing. He regarded his choice of God as being the utmost, and he wanted to be blessed. Esau was not quite happy, so now Esau is coming towards him and so on, and he's nervous. And then it's in the middle of the night. He protected his family, divided in two, and then he crossed the Jabbok River, and he ended up being alone in the dark right now. And Jacob was left alone, and there wrestled a man with him until the daybreak of the day. Wrestle, it means to roll, wrestling in the dust, getting dusty while wrestling in Hebrew. And when Jehovah saw that he prevailed not against Jacob, so Jacob was wrestling against the angel of Jehovah. The same angel that did appear to Abraham when three men appeared to him, and one of them was Jehovah. So basically, and when Jehovah saw that he prevailed not against Jacob, Jehovah could prevail, but he was basically restraining his strength for the reason that we will see, and he basically let Jacob win. Jehovah touched the hollow of his thigh, and the hollow of Jacob's thigh was strained, and he wrestled with Jehovah. And Jehovah said, let me go, for the day breaks. And Jacob said to Jehovah, I will not let you go, except you bless me. You can picture that while wrestling. Probably that, just be with me, Jacob got on top and he grabbed the cloak of the angel of Jehovah in a manifestation as a man and grabbed him, bless me. I want to be blessed. So let me go, for the day breaks. And Jacob said, I will not let you go except you bless me. And Jehovah said unto Jacob, what is your name? And he said, Jacob. And Jehovah said, your name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel, Sarael. For you have striven with God and with me, and has prevailed. And Jacob asked and said, tell me, I pray you, your name. And Jehovah said, what's the point here? What is it that you ask me after my name? Don't you realize what's happening to you right now? And you ask me my name? You should know. So Jehovah said, what is it that you do ask after my name? And Jehovah blessed him there. And Jacob called the name of that place Peniel, For he said, I have seen God face to face, yet my life has been preserved. I took the liberty to change the pronouns so that you may not be confused. It's a superb account. Jehovah, any angels are stronger than man. He cannot win against Jehovah, but Jehovah restrained his strength. It's a good battle because he's battling to be blessed. And Jehovah said, okay, I will bless you. It's superb. I like it. So after a spiritual struggle, here Jacob goes from Jacob to Israel. He gets dusty in wrestling. The one that fought with him, it's the pre-incarnate Christ. Don't be offended by that. That's what the Jews call Metatron, the angel of Jehovah, which is equality with God. He appeared to Jacob there as a man. Okay? It's the pre-incarnate Christ, because when the battle is, he goes up again. It's not the incarnation of the Messiah yet. It's like the account of Abraham, when Abraham basically, before the destruction of Jehovah, in Genesis 18, 3 men appeared to him. And he waited upon them, and he bowed his face to the ground, recognizing that one of them was special. And in the account, 2 men, one of the 3 men, it says 2 men, they went towards Sodom and Gomorrah, and Abraham stayed in front of Jehovah, the 3rd angel. And that's the Jehovah that says, Sarah laughed. And Jehovah asked Abraham, how come your wife laughed in the tent? Yeah, but she laughed. So what Abraham saw was the pre-incarnate Christ. Same person that is looking upon Peter in a moment of time. 4,000 years after that, the angel of Jehovah who appeared to Jacob and Abraham in human form became incarnate in the person of Yeshua HaMashiach from Nazareth. 4,000 years later, when I read and paused, Jesus looked at him. That's why I entitled the message here when I gave it to you, An Eye Contact with Jehovah. So now the face of God, Peniel, is now the face of the God-man, Jesus Christ, fully God and fully man. He will not ascend right now. Tangible. A person that you can speak to, a person that will say, wait a moment because I need to go to the washroom. Taking a pause of them to do his things in private. It's the same person that was in front of Abraham, that Abraham served and cooked a meal and they ate. It's the same person that was rolling in the dust. Be with me and get excited. Jehovah rolling in the dust. Fighting with a man here, which he could a microwave.
Exactly.
Fraction of the second is too slow. But he let him prevail. And that's what he is facing right now. On the divine side of Christ, in the scene that he read here, and Jesus looked upon him, in his omniscience, it is a penetrating look. Place yourself there, Sylvie. That you did, Andrew, I'm your brother. I said, come, I found the Messiah, and I plant you right in front of the Messiah here, and he looks upon you. But he is fully God and fully man. So right now, he's looking at your resume. In a moment of time, in his omniscience here, is reading into Peter's inmost character in his future call and work as an apostle. And that includes, I never knew this man. I never knew him. That includes, I will build 3 tabernacles for you, one for Moses, one for you, and for Elijah. And that includes, even if everybody else in this room denies you, I will never deny you. There is no way possible or whatsoever that at that time Peter knew who was looking at him. He believed on him based upon the word of John the Baptist, because he was a disciple of John the Baptist, Peter. But he had no clue at this point that the person that was looking at him right now was the same man that wrestled with Jacob. Jesus did not even have to look at Peter's resume. In his deity, not in his humanity, he knew it all. I'm ready to die for you. You were with him, first denial, second denial, third denial, things that we will see in detail when we reach the time to do it. That was from a divine standpoint. From the human side, because now I want you to know that the person in front of Peter is fully God and fully man, not the angel that appeared. The angel of Jehovah that was wrestled never said to Jacob, now I need to have a shower because I'm dirty. He went up like this. Never needed to sleep, never found weakness, but now he is fully God, fully man. So, although Jesus Christ can see through the heart of Peter fully, Yeshua wants a relationship. So at that point here, for the next 3.5 years, there is a relationship being established between Peter and Jesus. At this point, when Peter is found right now, he is only a learner, a disciple. Later on, in the next few weeks, he will be chosen to be a disciple. Here. Despite the word of John in chapter 2, verse 23, where he never entrusted himself to man because he knew himself what was in man, here he was chosen to become an apostle, like one of you here, not one of you, but all of you have been chosen to be a church saints and a disciple. I was sharing with Olga, because I know that Olga just did a class. It's a parenthesis right now about how to build a resume, not a Christian resume, a resume to get a job, a resume to drywall. Just to use this example as a trade here. And she was telling me, quote, that a resume is to sell yourself. You go with the strong point and you change your resume per job. You cannot have the same resume all the time, depending on what to apply for. And you stress your strong point, and you minimize largely the disclosure, if not completely, of your weakness. You don't want to go there. Not so with Jesus. First of all, you don't have not to disclose them or disclose them. He knows them. So when the video of the apostolic career of Peter came to an end here, what did he say to him? In the text that he read here, you are Shimon, the son of John, and you shall be called Cephas. Shimon means to hear. And you will be called Cephas, which is Aramaic, translated Peter. Although his struggle did not happen yet, they will happen, his name is changed. Because most of the people that have a change of name in the Bible, it's after a spiritual struggle. For Peter, it's only starting here. Shimon is a derivative of Simeon. They are not necessarily the same. Shimon means hears or hearing. Cephas is Aramaic. It means a rock. And Peter means a rock, a stone, or a pebble. Make a note about Peter being a pebble. This will come back in the course of weeks and months ahead of us. The famous Peter here that was looked upon by Jesus was originally from Bethsaida, a little bit inland, still yet close to the Sea of Galilee. But right now, when this encounter between the two, Peter and Jesus, occurred, Peter didn't move at that time, had moved to the city of Capernaum. And you know about the threefold denial. I step ahead right now. Are you still with me? Yes. You know about the threefold denial. Okay? The first one, I never do this, man, and so on. So I have the threefold denial here. I read the whole thing. It's too precious for me. And they seized him and led him away, Jesus, and brought Jesus into the high priest's house. But Peter followed afar off. And when they had kindled a fire in the midst of the court of the high priest and had sat down together, Peter sat in the midst of them. And there is a light reflecting on him because the fire goes on. And a certain maid, seeing him, Peter, he sat in the light of the fire, and looking steadfastly upon him, Peter said, "This man also was with him." But Peter denied, saying, "Woman, I don't know this guy." And after a while, another maid saw him and said, "You are also one of them." But Peter said, "Man, I'm not." And after the space of about an hour, another confidently affirmed, saying, "Of truth, this man was also with him, because he is a Galilean, and he had an accent like mine, sort of." But Peter said, "Man, I know not what you say." And immediately while he yet spake, the cock crew. And the Lord turned. He was probably most elevated a little bit. It was probably a second floor. And the Lord turned and looked upon Peter. Another eye contact. And Peter remembered the word of the Lord, how that he said unto him before the cock crowed this day, "You shall deny me 3 times." Here. Once again, an eye contact would become at that point the catalyst, the igniter or stimulant causing Peter to remember in verse 61. Peter is faced here with what he is. What is he? A man. A man that drops the ball. Like François, the one that is speaking to you. A fallen man who retained the sin nature, and right now he is in plain agony of what he just did. He's going out to weep, probably falling flat. The Greek word implies this, that he was flat-faced, weeping, sorrow, and repenting. Yet he was lifted up in prayer in the upper room here, because Luke 21:22, I'm going to go to Luke 22:31. I don't think I have this one here. No. This is not relevant to this. Luke 22:21, let me go there. Luke chapter 22, verse 21. Chapter 22, verses 31 and 32 goes like this. It's in the upper room here. 22, 31 to 32. "Simon, Simon, this is Peter. Behold, Satan has demanded permission to sift you like wheat." The sifting of Peter like wheat refers to the threefold denial. "But I have prayed for you." Not the prayer meeting, but a prayer personal from Jesus to him, "that your faith may not fail. And you, once you have turned," circle have turned, again, "strengthen your brothers." The very person that denied Jesus 3 times here, he said, basically, once you have turned, meaning once you have repented, strengthen your brothers. Nothing has been taken away from him. Jesus never asked him the keys of the kingdom of God that he gave to him at the transfiguration. "Give it back to me. After all, you have denied me 3 times. But he said, "You have repented." Here, an eye contact. The same eye contact, basically, that when he was brought up to him, Jesus looked upon him. "I don't know this guy, I don't know this guy, I don't know this guy." And then on the second floor, first floor, there is an eye contact being again here with him. "Hi, Peter. I'm pretending. How you doing, Pete?" Wants the fellowship restored. Because he knows what is in man. Coming close to an end right now. I said to you without violating the context at all. What can we possibly take home? For young people, male and female, it's the same thing, and to embrace. Well, none of us will experience what Jacob did, nor what Peter did, or experience. None of you will wrestle physically with the angel of Jehovah. Never, I promise. And none of you will have a physical contact, two physical person with the gone man. You will, but not of this age. The next time that you will have an eye contact with him will be at the judgment seat of Christ, but it's not of this age. So while you travel in Duncan, Jesus will not appear on the dash, sitting on the dash. You would have an accident looking at you. None of us is the patriarch. None of you will become Jacob, nor ever will be an apostle. Peter is not an apostle right now, not today. Next week maybe. None of you will become an apostle. An apostle is a sent one with the authority of the sender. The gift of apostleship is no longer given. We are learners. We are disciples, and such you should be, and you are. None of us will ever will never write first or second François, or you are on my notes there, you, first and second Germain. You will not write that. Or first and second Norbert. You will not write a book. The canon is closed. None of us will ever be a prophet either. Conclusion. 2 Peter, who wrote that? 2 Peter, that's the one that we have chose to be a study character this morning. Simon Peter, a servant and apostle of Jesus Christ, to them that have obtained a like precious faith with us in the righteousness of our God and the Savior Jesus Christ. Like precious faith is one word in Greek. An expression in English of 3 words, but in Greek is isotimon, which is basically one word, a like precious faith. It means a like precious faith equal in honor and value. And that's a word used for citizenship. When a person becomes a citizen of the country of Canada, he is in the same honor and value as the native born, like we are native born of Canada. Peter's point is that our faith, you and I, now is equal honor and privilege with the apostles' faith. And this is that he looked upon you. He did. Not in the way that he looked upon Peter when he was on the earth, but he made an eye contact with you prior to the constellation being established. Beloved, this is your eye contact with Yeshua here. His choice of Peter and his choice of us is indirectly an eye contact with you. And he looked upon me. My name was never changed, but my being was, though. You too, you became a believer. Your name was never changed, but your life and his hope should change. This is the eye contact. This is what we can go with to the door, like a precious faith of equal honor. And I want you to notice something. When he used these words, it's Peter. Have you noticed that when we do, I'm going to get there. I have these messages on the back burner. But keep in mind that this guy, Peter, saw the Shekinah glory on Mount Hermon. My sister and I went there. Did you go to Mount Hermon? Mount Hermon. There is a military base on top of it, and it's a ski center because occasionally they have the snow in as well. And this is the highest peak in the Holy Land. Is the very Mount of Transfiguration. Have you been? Next time. So when I was there, I picked up a rock. Can't remember where I put it. It's in my stuff. Because I said to myself, maybe this rock saw the Shekinah glory at the Transfiguration. What amazes me the most is that Peter